when I think of the greatest of all time debate or whatever, I think it's era based. I think it's how far above everyone else were they in their era, and how does that relate to how far above people were in their era now. So, you think of the best player, who would you think is, throw a name out there, doesn't have to be your cosign, but who would be considered the best player right now in Halo? Probably a Renegade or a Lucid. Oh
yeah, Renegade, Lucid, Frosty.
Yeah.
Like
Frosty, yeah. And it's just like, how would you compare the GOAT status now to an Ogre 2 back in the day? Like, what is the level of dominance? Is it still about the same, or was there a way bigger dominance?
I would say there's not really like that same level of dominance right now. Like we're gonna kind of see how things shake out here. We saw we saw how Optic kind of took over year 1, saw how FaZe is taking over year 2. And
unfortunately,
as we go into this third year here, we'll see how things shake out. But like you said, like there's not maybe the same level of like dominance currently in this game between one of those members. And also when I look at Halo, I look at it from multiple titles. Now, if you're looking for more of that comparison, like you look at like the Royal 2 and Snakebite, like duo who was dominated for so many years, and there was straight up levels or years of dominance, especially like within Halo 5. I don't know if we currently see that within Infinite. Like I don't think we see that level of dominance. I think you see different individuals who are absolute standouts and teams that are just above the rest. But I don't know if we see like the clear exact number ones as we've seen like MVP sometimes change hands,
which is better for the spectator.
That's the thing is, I would say from a current spectator, that's always the best.
Exactly.
When it comes to nostalgia factor, people always being like, oh, I loved when that was happening. I was like, no, like it kind of sucked watching that tournament. Like it kind of was like not as fun for the spectator to know a drawn out result
like,
prior before.
Why would I watch?
It's not fun during that time. It's fun to look back on. For the spectator side.
Unless you're on Final Boss.
Unless, in that case, it's a hell of a lot of fun,
How many was it? 9 straight or something? Why did you even go anymore? You just sign up and they just direct deposit you the first place. I mean, I hate to ask you questions you've been asked 100 times, but what was that run like, and how often do you have to think back on it? Or think back on it, are they memories now, or are they memories of memories?
One of those two, somewhere between memories and memories of memories.
Yeah.
I mean, the first thing I do every morning, I wake up and I pull up myself on YouTube and I just
I
watch and I show my wife, like, hey, check this. Check out this double kill. Isn't that sick? No, look, you're not looking. Look at this.
You're not looking.
But yeah, I would say it's like memories of memories, or somewhere in there.
Yeah.
And it's it's such a special thing, like you said. Like it's really cool to like at some point things just kind of become like more of like accolades or check marks, like shit, this or had this.
Yeah,
it's not as meaningful one to one for some of those where it's like if you quiz me like, all right, name all the tournaments you won, like I don't know if I could literally name every tournament I won right now, like as far as like a national or major tournament. But, it's still really cool to be like, oh, like went, whatever it was, like 16 months, like taking first place, like every tournament, or like, I forget, there's something out there, like when me and the Final Boss crew like got together, is like from the end of Halo 1 all the way till early Halo 3, we were in every final.
That's insane. That is insane. What a run. Wow.
Yeah.
What is the practice regimen like that? And what is this, 2006, 2007? What is the practice? I mean, when because you guys probably invented scrimming.
Probably to a degree, like I think back then, like we said, it's not the same comparable today. You don't have everyone on like
there's no spreadsheets and
perfect,
coaches.
Like no spreadsheets and coaches setting up scrims, and those sort of things. But we were very diligent. We were practicing 5+ days a week. Just
really? Wow.
Yeah. Just scrimming, and we'd always make sure we'd had like a team we'd practice against, or we'd all get on and pretty much any team would drop whatever they're doing to like scrim against us to practice, and we just get scrims. We would do some review. I always viewed when learning about anything new, like I kind of approached it like in an academic sense, where I viewed like let's say you're cramming for like some sort of test or some sort of subject or something you don't want to do, like you can't just do that all at once. You can't just learn calculus all in one sitting. And so I always treated like practices is I would always want to say, like, all right, guys, before we do the fun stuff and play, like playing and scrimming, let's be real, it's so much fun.
So much fun,
like,
yeah.
especially when you're super competitive and at the top, like,
Yes.
it's just fun.
It's fun to beat people.
It's fun to beat people, but to like make sure you're getting those incremental advantages and growing. I've always been a proponent of like, all right, before we get in the fun stuff, let's do some of the unfun stuff.
Yes.
Let's quick talk through this game mode. Let's quick talk through these specific scenarios. And I've always tried to direct towards being very specific, because when you're at the highest level of play, vagaries don't matter. It's not like, hey, should we run the flag left or should we run the flag right? It's like, no, like I'm sure in very specific instances, like you should run the flag car side or pink side based on this exact sequence of events or this spawn scenario. And so I'd always be like, I always approach things from kind of, as you can tell, like maybe I'm a more analytical person. Like I look at things like a spectrum or whatnot, and I would look at things kind of like best case scenario and worst case scenario. And I would always try to challenge that mindset. And I would say, all right, best case scenario. Let's say we can have any single thing we want on this map, any single particular weapon, any position, and they're all 4 dead right now. Where do we want to be? And I would always like try to challenge with that and use it as a conversation starter, because it would take everyone's input, and they would say, I think we should be up here, here, here. And then all of a sudden you'd have this difference. They'd be like, well, why should we have someone in front of the base when we can have someone on top of the base? And they're like, well, because of this, and we can block these spawns. And it would just
get conversations.
You'd get conversations. And what I usually found through those conversations is that generally both people are right, and it's just depending on the situation.
Yeah. Okay.
Like in a very specific situation, if they're spawning a certain side of the map, this spot's better. However, if they're spawning this side of the map, this other spot is better. And so I always try to look at things, like I said, from very specific situations, best case scenario, worst case scenario, and anything in between, and use those as conversation starters to talk about like what we should be striving for during a match. When all's going well, here's how we capitalize and get more value out of the situation. And when all is going bad, here's how we mitigate our losses. And here's how we make sure we get out of this with as few deaths or as few ball time as possible.
That's a lot to go over in 2007. That's a lot. I mean, you kind of expect it now because esports, I mean, that's how it is. You're watching demos in CS or Val. You're watching VOD in Call of Duty.
Also, when Halo 2 didn't even have VOD.
Yeah.
You'd have to just record your own POV. So you didn't have like a theater mode.
When did you start recording your clips? Because
I think I did it in early Halo 2 when I started like just create send some clips. I worked with montage editor. I made my first montage myself, 100% me.
You edited it?
Yeah.
Really?
That's right. When you see that like that 0.5 slow or that 2x speed up.
Yes, that's you.
Saw this guy right here.
That's not the Halo 2 montage though.
Not the one. It was a different Halo 2 montage.
Okay.
Not that one.
I was like,
that one's
damn.
a real editor.
I was like, you learned After Effects in 2000. You were also
No, that one goes to I gotta give proper credit to Peridius. He was the montage editor, and then VG. He was the guy that did these 3D effects. For the introing sequence.
Yeah. And were you the one with the bullet?
Yes. That was him, and that was VG. That's
so sick, dude. That's so ahead of its time. I mean, you got to think the Call of Duty Predators montage doesn't come out until 2012 or 2010, so not until 4 years later. That's so ahead of its time. So what were you using to record? Like a Hauppauge or?
I forget what it's called. I want to say it's like, is Pinnacle sound right? Is there like a Pinnacle thing? I invented Pinnacle and created this video recording software back in 2005.
Matt, can you look that up? He can't find it. Matt can't find it.
Like I said, I created this, but no, I believe it was something called I think it was called Pinnacle. And if I recall correctly, it was like on the stand. It was almost like a little like square, and on one side it had like the inputs for the red, white, yellow, like audio and video inputs, and on the other side it had like a red, white, yellow outputs to go to my TV. So it like fed through that, fed to my TV, and then like it was recording on my computer.
So like an Elgato, but
basically like an Elgato, but I believe it was called like something like Pinnacle or whatever back then.